Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now, last week, the National Academy of Science released a report in which they found that there's no evidence that GMO foods are harmful to people's health. The research message was fairly straightforward. 50 experts compared disease rates in countries where GMO foods are commonly eaten, mainly the United States and Canada, and countries where they are not, mostly Europe, but other countries as well. What they found was that there was no long-term increase in illnesses in countries that consume GMO foods. But I doubt that this report will change anybody's minds. The people who have made up their mind about GMOs are not going to listen to any scientists. Actually, there is no such thing as non-genetically modified food. The corn we eat, the wheat we have in our bread, the oats in our cereal are quite a bit different from the grains that were discovered here or originally imported from Europe. The same applies to our fruits and livestock. But the modifications that in those foods came about through crossbreeding. Farmers have always been tweaking the crops and livestock that they raise. And the problem with crossbreeding is this. Along with the trait that you want in your new crop, you might also get a lot of traits that you don't want. So you might get an orange that is resistant to certain pests, but it might not taste as good as the original product that you started with. But with GMOs, what you do is they isolate the gene for a particular trait and then transfer it to the crop that they are working with, so that they get the trait that they want without getting traits that they don't. On the face of it, it seems pretty simple and clear. But people have a lot of reservations about GMO foods. Now, as I said, since you're isolating a particular trait, it's hard to say what would also be transferred over that might be harmful. In fact, since there is less control with crossbreeding, it seems to me that that you're likely to get things that you don't want, more likely to get traits that you don't want with that. And it seems to me that there is more of a health threat from the way food is, especially cattle and chickens, cattle and poultry, are raised on factory farms, where you have cruel, inhumane, and very unsanitary conditions that the animals are raised in. But it doesn't matter what the report says, because like I said, a lot of people have simply made up their minds. And part of this is because the corporate heads at Monsanto, one of the biggest companies involved with GMOs, have behaved pretty much like douchebags. They pissed a lot of people off and created a lot of distrust, and this distrust is transferred to any GMO foods. It would be really a good idea for Monsanto to get out of the GMO business, because they are actually a hindrance to the growth of it. But that's only part of the reason. And the other part of the reason is because science has been under attack from the right for a long time, even longer than Hillary Clinton has. And the right has successfully cast a shadow over Hillary Clinton. And it also has successfully cast a shadow over science. And so, even as we benefit every day from the advances science makes, a whole lot of us just don't trust science. So we get on our cell phones, and the signal from that cell phone is beamed off a satellite to a receiver somewhere else. And the message is what asshole scientists are and how they can't be trusted. And so, even though scientists are telling us about the huge threat of climate change, we pretty much ignore them. And we have our anti-vaxxers and our biblical literalists. So many of us simply choose what we want to believe and don't pay much attention to scientific facts. But that same global warming that nobody thinks much about is going to make it increasingly hard for farmers to grow food. As a matter of fact, it already is. And it is likely that the use of GMOs will increase to meet the needs that climate change creates. So right now, people can choose to avoid GMO food. But if things keep on the way they're going, that choice will disappear. Thanks for listening.